Welcome to Tennessee Pinball. I've decided to do it. I'm going to go ahead and try to touch this thing up a little bit. It's not going to make it look perfect for sure, but hopefully it can make it look a little bit better. If you ever want a perfect looking backglass, there's one way to do that, and that's to buy a new one. If you try to touch them up, it's going to be real clear that somebody's touched it up, but hopefully you can make it look a little bit better. This one looks bad enough where I think maybe I can make it look better. A couple things to realize. So I've got this behind a lit kind of a light box here. These back glasses, this one's no exception. Most of the areas, the silver is opaque so that none of the light transmits through it. And this one, a lot of the holes are actually in the opaque area, which is helpful. So if I can do a moderately decent job of matching this sky and painting it in there, and then painting black on top of that on the back side so the light doesn't transmit through, it won't look too awful bad, hopefully. And so that takes care of potentially a lot of these holes. Same with the tree. The tree, that's opaque. It's not lighted through on the back side, so I can paint that brown. And actually you got to do the black first, because if you want to have the little knots, do a couple of black knots and then paint it brown, and then paint the whole thing black again so that it's opaque. Same on this side. Things get a little more difficult when you're talking about like this gal's shirt and her pants. If you try to paint over that, it's because this is not an opaque area. The light's going to transmit. It's very easy to see the brush strokes, and they usually look pretty crappy. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to put some of this red film on the back side, and I'll just kind of cut it out to roughly fit the shape of her, and just tape it up there behind there, and that will mute the effect of the holes in her shirt and her pants. I'll do the same thing for this ball shot off the rail. I'll just put a piece of red lens paper behind there. The more difficult area is like this, the ball count. 1, 2, 3, hard to even read 4, 5. And that's something where somebody was thinking about doing something and bailed out. So originally, in the game over, this would have been, it's red on red, so it would have been pretty much hard to see the numbers until the light came on from behind. So the 1 would be, the light would transmit, and the areas around the 1, they're painted red, but then on the back side of that, it's silver. So the areas between the 1, the 4, the 2, there's no light transmitting there, but the 4 itself shines bright. Same with the gable over. So to fix this, what I'm going to try to do, and we're going to see how well this works, is I'm going to try to paint red between the numbers. So like where my finger is there, paint that red, heavy red, so that it doesn't transmit light. Maybe paint black on top of the red after that so that it really doesn't transmit light. And then again, put some of this red lens paper on top of the whole thing so that the 1 is a little bit more red and not just like red dots. Same for the game over. And hopefully that will take care of that area and make it look better than it does now. This area here is really a mess. This is the it says extended time, EX. You can see some of the letters, not all of them. This area is so messed up. I'm tempted to get a razor blade and cut out the entire area, make it clean, and just maybe print out some stencils that say extended time, paint it, then pull up the stencils and do it that way. I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet, but that's what I'm thinking. But I'm going to start with the easy areas, which are these opaque areas. So I'm going to try to mix up some blue, mix up some brown, and start there and see what I get. And if this goes really bad, it's already pretty bad. So if it gets worse, I can always get. There is a new one for sale. Shay's Arcade Group sells one, so I can always do that. Alright, so I'm done monkeying with the back glass. I tried to limit my time. I've got about 2 hours in it. Let's start by talking about everything that's wrong with it. First off, glaring problem that I did. this kind of baby blue color, I did not mix it very well. It looked like it was mixed pretty well when I put it on, the first coat anyway. And I had to put 2 or 3 coats on to get it kind of so it wasn't so thin. And every coat I put on, it got darker and darker and darker. And then I put the black on the top because it's all a masked area. And by the time I was done, it got really dark. And then I didn't really realize how dark it was until it was completely dried. And I put it on the light box here, and it's pretty dark. So, you know, that's bad on me for that. That's just a matter of experience and mixing paint more. But you don't have the light shining through. Up here, you can just kind of imagine that's like stormy weather up the top there. I don't know what you can imagine there. There is a D that should probably be there, extended. I was upside down and backwards when I was doing this. I don't know. That's the only excuse I have. I could, no good excuse for that one either. But it's you can kind of imagine there's a D there. Extended play. Let's talk about some of the other stuff. Best part is maybe that glob there. That tree, you cannot even tell I painted it, I don't think. I need to turn my phone around instead of flipping it over so you don't go upside down. So that is where that tree was at. So underneath there's green, and then I put the black on top of it to basically reproduce that silver mask. And, I think it was Monet that used the dots. I tried to just kind of make dots because that's kind of the style of the tree. And really, you can't even tell at all. The brown didn't match very well, but the brown is really not the problem. The problem was I tried to put a black line in there way too thick. I'd have been better off just not putting a knot in there. I don't even know if there was a knot, but it kind of looked like there might have been one there if I'd just filled in the brown. Of course, you probably didn't notice that until I pointed them out. But anyway, they're there. The areas that I was really kind of most concerned with, I think, actually kind of look the best. Like this, 1, 2, 3, 4. So these will only be illuminated. So in the game, there's a divider wall. So there's a bulb and there's dividers for each. So there's a bulb for 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 with the wall. So only one of these will be lit at a time. It'll be lit more brightly than this light box here. So the idea is that, when it's not lit, you're supposed to not be able to see it, and you can kind of not see it. Right now you can see all of them because they're all lit. But at least you can see the numbers. Before, when you were playing the game, you really couldn't even discern what the numbers were or the game over. So now you can. So again, I didn't paint the numbers themselves at all. I painted everything around it red, and then I painted black. And then I put a sheet of that red, I don't know what you call it. It's not Mylar, but it's like cellophane. And the point of the red is to basically fill in the missing paint around there. And remember, when I started this, the first thing I did was triple thick the backglass. So I put this on this. The only thing I did was put that red film on the back, and on this gal's shirt and pants, I put the red film on the back of there also, and on the champion. That's all I did. So even though her pants are purple, it's got the red film over both of them, and it really does mute the fact that half the paint or a third of the paint's missing. So is it perfect? No way. Could have been better? Absolutely. Is it much better than it was? Yeah, I'd say so. There was so much paint missing that it was just like, to me before, it was like it had to be something done with it. I think if somebody's wanting to get this game now, it's obviously it's not perfect, and a lot of people would still want to replace this, but a lot of people wouldn't. They would look at this and say, it's got character. It kind of goes with a 60-year-old game. So anyway, it's one option to try to paint these things up. And for the areas where you got light passing through, you can use the colored film and you know, kind of make do if you've got a game that you don't want to put a lot of money into. Don't want to spend the $300-400 for a new backglass. Anyway, hope you enjoyed. Please subscribe. Adios.